It's 2:13 a.m. when your alarm clock glows softly in the dark room, even though you didn't set it. You lie still for a moment, staring at the ceiling, listening to the silence of a city that thinks nothing important ever happens at this hour. Your apartment is ordinary on purpose. No photographs on the walls that matter. No trace of who you used to be. Just a bed, a chair, a desk, and a locked drawer you never leave open. Then the phone rings once. Not your personal phone, the encrypted one. You already know what it means before you even reach for it. You sit up slowly, exhale once, and answer. A voice comes through that you haven't heard in 7 months. Calm, controlled, familiar in the way danger becomes familiar when you've survived it long enough. There's a situation, the voice says. Level black request. They asked for you specifically. You don't respond immediately. You never do. Silence is part of the agreement. Silence means understanding without questions. But tonight feels different. Because level black means something went wrong at the highest level possible. Not a mission, not a target. A problem the government cannot officially exist alongside. You swing your legs off the bed and walk barefoot across cold tiles to the desk. The drawer opens only after 2 locks click in sequence. Inside is a sealed file and a burner passport you haven't touched in months. The file is already unlocked, which means they are not asking. They are informing. You open it, a face stares back at you. A foreign diplomat. High-ranking. Protected. Untouchable by law, by treaty, by politics. The kind of man who shakes hands in daylight and moves weapons deals in the dark. Under the photo is a single line. Target has gone rogue. Extraction impossible. Exposure imminent. And beneath that, a number you haven't seen in a long time. $12 million. Clean transfer. No records. No questions. No atribution. A job that doesn't exist. You close the file slowly. This is not your first time being called back, but it is the first time they sound uncertain. That's what makes it dangerous. You go to the window. Outside, the world continues sleeping. Streetlights hum. A dog barks somewhere far away. Everything looks normal. That's always the lie, because beneath normal is the system you once belonged to, and the system does not forget you. You return to the phone. I'm listening. You say finally. A pause on the other end. Then, asset is compromised. 3 field teams already failed. We need containment before sunrise. No collateral possibility. No collateral visibility means one thing. No witnesses left alive. You don't ask why it failed. You don't ask who authorized it. Those questions stopped being relevant years ago. Instead, you ask the only thing that matters. Location. A second pause. Then coordinates arrive. You memorize them instantly. Your mind still works like that. Clean, segmented, precise. It never fully left. When the call ends, you stand in silence for a few seconds, longer than necessary. Then you begin moving. Not hurried. Never hurried. You dress like a man going nowhere special. Dark jacket. Neutral tones. Nothing memorable. Your identity is built on the absence of identity. In the bathroom mirror, you look almost ordinary. Almost. But your eyes don't belong to an ordinary life anymore. They never did. The drive takes 40 minutes. The city slowly shifts from residential silence into controlled institutional light. High fences begin appearing. Cameras. Patrol routes disguised as traffic enforcement. The closer you get, the more the world stops pretending it is free. At a checkpoint that isn't marked as a checkpoint, your car slows. A man approaches. Uniformed, but not official. The kind of uniform that exists between government departments, where accountability gets blurred on purpose. He recognizes you instantly. He shouldn't, but he does. He nods once and steps aside without asking for identification. That's your first confirmation of how serious this is. They didn't just call you. They prepared for you. You pass through the gate and continue toward a facility that doesn't appear on public maps. A compound built inside another compound. Layers of secrecy stacked like concrete walls. Inside, the air changes. Sterile. Controlled. Observed. You're led without escort words. Only gestures. Down corridors that get quieter the deeper you go. Eventually, you reach a briefing room. 3 people are waiting. One is military intelligence. One is diplomatic security. when you don't recognize at all, which is never a good sign. They don't stand when you enter. Respect in this environment is not expressed through politeness. It is expressed through necessity. A folder is placed in front of you. You don't open it yet. The unfamiliar man speaks first. "We lost control of him 12 hours ago," he says. Not it, not the asset. Him. That matters. He has access to transit protocols, financial channels, and 2 active diplomatic safe corridors. If he reaches either board or exit, we lose containment permanently. You finally open the folder. More faces, more names, internal routes, emergency extraction patterns, and one detail that makes your fingers still for half a second. He wasn't just an asset. He was part of the same system you once served in. Not your division, not your era, but the structure is familiar enough that you recognize the architecture behind it. Someone trained him the same way they trained you, which means he knows how you think. The military intelligence officer slides a tablet forward. 3 teams already attempted intercept, he says. First team lost contact within 9 minutes. Second, never reached extraction point. Third, we recovered 2 bodies. No emotion in his voice. That's required here. You scroll through the file slowly. Then you see the update timestamp. 6 minutes ago. He's still moving. You lean back slightly. What changed, you ask? The diplomatic officer finally speaks. He started talking. That's worse, because talking means leverage, exposure, collapse risk. He initiated contact with foreign intermediaries. If he completes the exchange, he has full extraction insurance. We cannot publicly intervene after that point. So this is no longer containment. It is deletion. Clean. Final. Untraceable. You close the file. "I want access logs," you say. They hesitate. Then they give them, because they don't have another option. They escort you to a secondary room. Surveillance feeds fill the walls. Live tracking data updates every few seconds. You see him now, not directly, but through movement patterns. A man traveling without panic, without rush. He knows he is being hunted, but he also knows something else. He knows how to survive hunters like you. That part matters more than anything else. You study his route. He is not escaping randomly. He is moving towards something. A dead drop point. You recognize the structure immediately. You've used it before, which means he learned from the same playbook. A cold realization settles in. He isn't just running from a system. He understands it. The room waits for your answer without asking a question. You stand slowly. "I need 1 team," you say. The military officer frowns. "You were asked to operate solo, if necessary." "I didn't say I needed backup," you reply. Silence. Then understanding. They nod. You're given clearance instantly, because they already decided you were the last option. Night air hits you again when you step outside. But it feels different now. The city is no longer distant. It is part of the operation. Every light becomes a possible signal. Every shadow becomes movement. You take a vehicle that is not marked and not tracked publicly. Inside, you review movement patterns one last time. He is fast, efficient, but not chaotic. That means he's still thinking emotionally. Emotion creates predictable mistakes, and you know how to wait for those mistakes. The drive takes you closer to the predicted intercept zone. But halfway there, something changes. The feed updates. He stopped moving. That should not happen, unless he already arrived. You accelerate slightly. Now there's urgency, but still control. Always control. When you reach the zone, it is quiet. Too quiet. An abandoned industrial district, partially repurposed, but mostly forgotten. The kind of place where systems hide things they don't want remembered. You step out. Your hand rests near your jacket. Not because you expect a confrontation immediately, but because preparation is instinct, not thought. You move forward carefully. Then you see it. A light inside a building that shouldn't have power. You approach. Inside, the space is empty except for a single chair and a table. And him, sitting calmly, waiting. He looks up as you enter. Not surprised, not afraid, just acknowledging. "So they sent you," he says. His voice is steady, familiar in a way that makes something in your memory tighten. You don't respond immediately. You study him instead. He studies you back, like he already knows the outcome. "You're earlier than I expected," he adds. That confirms it. He wasn't running. He was positioning. You step closer. Why? You ask finally. He smiles slightly. Not a victory smile. A recognition smile. Because you understand the system better than they do, he says. And because you're the only one they trust to end it without hesitation. The room feels smaller now. Not physically. Strategically. Every angle shifts. Every possibility recalculates. You could have disappeared, you say. I did, he replies. But disappearing isn't the same as being free. A pause. Then he leans forward slightly. They will send more after me. After you. After anyone who knows. You already know that. But hearing it spoken still changes the weight of it. He slides a small drive across the table. No sudden movements. No threat posture. Just transfer of consequence. Everything is in there, he says. Names. Orders. Back channels. The parts they said didn't exist. You don't touch it yet. Why give this to me, you ask. His eyes narrow slightly. Because you still believe there is a line you won't cross, he says quietly. And I needed to see if that was true. That lands differently than anything else tonight. Because it isn't accusation. It's observation. You look at the drive. Then at him. Then back at the door behind you. The system is already closing in. You can feel it. Not physically. Structurally. Like pressure building in a sealed room. He stands slowly. I won't run again, he says. That is not surrender. That is decision. And you understand immediately what he is doing. He is removing the variable, making the outcome singular. You take a step back. For the first time tonight, you're no longer executing instructions. You're choosing between versions of collapse. The system outside will not wait much longer. Neither will the moment you're standing in. And in that quiet industrial room, with no witnesses and no oversight and no official existence, you realize something that has followed you your entire life without ever being said out loud. You were never the assassin. You were the mechanism they used when they needed certainty. And certainty always has a cost. The drive sits between you like a verdict. Outside, distant engines begin to sound. They're getting closer. Time is no longer abstract. It is now operational. And for the first time since the call at 2:13 a.m., the system is no longer asking you to act. It is waiting to see what you become when you do.